Green Bay is a small town, only 100,000 people. Those 100,000 people may be different in many ways, but there's one thing that brings them all together: the Green Bay Packers. In Titletown, the blue-collar city only knows hard work, tailgating, championships, but more importantly, they know family.
We have a saying in this town: faith, family, and the Green Bay Packers are all that you need. Sanjay and I grew up in Green Bay. You could say that we are Green Bay, or even better, the voices of Green Bay. We bring a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience.
Friendship, family, and football.
Ladies and gentlemen,
This is the Freezer Podcast. What is up? We are back. This is the Freezer Podcast, where we bring you a local field Packer fandom to a worldwide audience. I'm Sanjay. Alongside me, like always, is Matt Jensen. No Fred today, not feeling well. Got a little bit of a sore throat. So hopefully, he was maybe going to have a nice little message for us, maybe a little couple notes that he had for a video. We might play it if it uploads here. Unfortunately, right now it's not yet. So just kind of bear with us on that. Hopefully we have it. If not, he'll give us 2 cents next week. But I'm sure a lot of the things that we are going to say tonight are going to be echoed by Fred. Because let's just be honest, I think we're all feeling the same way on Sunday afternoon noon game. I really hate these noon games. I actually do. I think they're stupid. My kid has to take a nap at noon, and you have to be quiet, and then obviously, yes, you got to watch football after, but now you have to be depressed that much longer after a loss. Now, obviously, if it's a win, you're like, oh damn, all right, let's fuck it. You can just sit and enjoy football for a while. But Matt, it was a tough loss. Give up a 12-point lead. I haven't seen that in a long time, even from the Rodgers era. And I think these are the growing pains. Fred, and you have mentioned before that it's like, okay, are we going to lose some of these games? And we were mentioning that maybe it would be an Anders Carlson issue because maybe we lose a close game because we need a field goal to win, and then he misses it. Like, we were thinking about that during training camp, and then we have to think of the element of maybe Jordan Love cost us a game, or maybe the defense, which we've always known has cost us games for so many years. But we've more recently had special teams that's cost us games in the playoffs. But this time, I think it was a collective, maybe not, I guess you could kind of say special teams, but not really as much. But it's a collective, crap show, as you must say. But Matt, what your thoughts, at least on the loss being 1-1 going into our home opener this weekend?
Kind of a little bit all over the place, I think, coming into this season, the show, all three of us were, very vocal about going through and being patient and understanding that we're going to probably have some frustrating losses, lose some games you should absolutely win, and vice versa. I felt like this game was a little bit of both. I thought it was both growing pains and also some familiar issues that we've been having, that's long predated this current Packers team in the form of the defense just kind of, going to sleep. So it was an interesting range of emotion because, I thought through 3 quarters, I really did think Green Bay was absolutely the better team, played better, looked to be a little bit more out in front in terms of their play calling, and execution wise. I thought Jordan Love had a really good third quarter. I mean, a good game for the most part, but that third quarter, he was dynamite. I mean, I was going into that fourth quarter with a ton of confidence thinking, man, they're just going to maybe kind of do what they did to the Bears and just run them off the field eventually. But, we all kind of saw what happened, and they clammed up a little bit. They, couldn't get a first down, couldn't get really a yard at all. And then to marry that with a defense that was very passive and accepting of what the Falcons were trying to do to them and did very little to kind of counteract it. So in the end, it ended up being a pretty frustrating loss. And I know a lot of people are kind of like, well, and us to a degree, like, hey, it's these things are going to happen. But I just think that, no matter what version of the Packers are looking at, young or not, I'm not going to throw any kind of basic standards out the window. If you have a 12-point lead going into the fourth quarter, you got to finish that off. It's not like that defense is full of rookies and second and first year players. They got plenty of veterans and guys that have been on the block. So I thought there was a lot to build off of, really a lot of positive stuff, but also some frustrating things that, that could potentially linger throughout the season. So, a little bit of both.
Yeah, and I was saying it in the text that, like, I just thought we were the better team. There was nothing about Atlanta that, unless we were, giving them so much space and yards with Bijan, like, I thought it was literally if you could just contain him. I think Ritter had some nice plays. I think he made some really nice throws, but then it was like, cushy zone coverage where we're just giving up these 3rd and longs. But it's just what are we doing in this situation? Like, if we're kind of caught in man or we're caught in zone, and we just, I don't know if there was much juice from Jair that night. I really don't know. I don't know if it was maybe the dropped interception where he was just like, okay, maybe this is not my day. But in the run game, I saw that he was not even participating. Like, it just seemed like he didn't want to have any kind of, like, want or will to be out there on the field. And then Rashawn Gary, in my opinion, I know this is going to be kind of a slow process about getting him back acclimated into the, NFL speed, but like there was some blown, like, just bites, biting hard, didn't have any kind of, like, holding the line or, holding the edge. And it was kind of bad on his end too. And I mean, if there was any kind of shout out, maybe a big shout out to Quay Walker. I mean, the guy was everywhere. 17 tackles for him. I think that was a season high or / career high for a Packer, as far as Packer linebacker, maybe. You have to check on that one from Andrew. But I don't know. I just feel like this team, and I'm going to start with my rant here, and that's maybe the coaching, because a lot of things just kind of, like, I mean, right away out of the gates, I was kind of like, damn, okay, a flea flicker.
Yeah.
Oh, chuck it. Let's get 7.
Draw the PI.
Right, and you get great field position, and then we can't even turn it into 7. I'm like, what is going on here? So, okay, fine, whatever. And then, this field goal issue, I don't know what's going on here, and I don't know if this is like a Matt lying to the public kind of thing, but like 51-yarder, and you have a delay of game, you forget to call a timeout. I don't know what it is. This has been an issue for Matt LaFleur for the longest time, is clock management, just game management. And then he says, oh, we're going to punt now because it's 5 yards more. It's like the guy hit a 57-yarder in Lambeau, yet he can't hit, a 58-yarder in the Dome.
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused here where you're going with this. You're backpedaling a lot, and you're saying that, it was too far. So I don't know. And then, of course, what do you think? What do you know? We lose the game by 3 or more. Sorry, well, 2, I guess. But we could have won.
But the field goal was the difference,
right? Exactly. So it's you see these things haunt you later on in the game, and that's kind of where I'm just like, I question Matt LaFleur a lot sometimes, because he just makes these boneheaded mistakes with his. I don't know if it's just like too big of a moment, or you're like, okay, I'm trying to one up Arthur Smith because he's an old buddy. Like, I don't know, because it seems like always against his buddies, he's dog shit. Like, he really is.
Well, and how much of it is, he's basically the offensive coordinator and the head coach. He's got to do double duties, and so how much of it is he's distracted by, digging up plays or communicating to offensive staff. But I don't think it excuses it, because it's two weeks in a row where they should have used a timeout. And I know I texted you and Fred this today, but I was like, I've watched Aaron Rodgers and this team blow timeouts for years, waste them on absolutely nothing. And then through 2 weeks, when you have multiple scenarios where you need a timeout to get your play right or get the right personnel, whatever the case is, and they've kind of blown all of them. So you think about the field goal, of course, and then the play, the Bijan play, where you had Campbell lined up across from him. And I know people try to explain that away, and like, I just don't care. I'm like, I don't think this is a scenario where Preston Smith should be lined up on wide receivers or Campbell on Bijan. So to go back to your point, man, I just think that, LaFleur's got to get his head in the game when it comes to this stuff, because he's ultimately responsible for those things.
Yeah, and it just seems like, if you're, we had 0 last week against. Oh yeah, it's like I don't know, like, if you have Rick Bisaccia there, who's had plenty of experience, he's your special teams coordinator, he's an assistant head coach, is he not? Like, how is he not in your ear? How are you not in his ear saying, my guy can make this field goal? Like, I don't understand, like, his communication with his coach. He's got one in the booth, couldn't really see anything from up there, apparently, because his defense couldn't do anything. And then obviously you have Rick Bisaccia, and then you got what's his nuts, offense coordinator. And like, it just seems like the communication on this team is always just so lacking. And I just, when things are going right, sure, like you're seems like you have like the right game plan, but like as soon as any kind of adversity hits, I just feel like sometimes he crumbles. But again, the fourth quarter is probably what everybody wants to talk about. And as dismal as it was, I want you to kind of bring up your point about Jordan Love in the third quarter, because it's like it's kind of it shows the the transparency between the two quarters, because I'll not let you take over here for Jordan Love.
Well, I just thought that, while watching the game, that quarter in particular, I thought maybe it was one of his better quarters as a pro, if not his best one. I mean, he looked very sharp, very decisive. I think him and Matt LaFleur were in sync, calling, the correct plays. When he hit that shot to Reed for the touchdown, and they went up, was it 24-12? I mean, at that point, we're kind of thinking, hey, like, they're going to do what they did to the Bears, let them hang around a little bit, but in the end, really, really kind of put it to them and maybe win the game by double digits or 3 touchdowns, something like that. And it kind of had that feeling, honestly, going into it. But as we all know, fourth quarter comes up and it looked like an entirely different team, both offensively and defensively. The defensive slide kind of started before then. I thought once Van Ness went out, they lost kind of their toughness up front. He was off to a good start, and I thought he was really bringing it. Once he went down, they kind of lost that nasty to him. And the Falcons kind of didn't mind, running right at that line after that. So I thought that really changed the dynamic. But to go back to Jordan, in the fourth quarter, I don't know if it's play calling, if it's, execution, all the above, but, I thought they could have did a better job of it's very clear that the running game wasn't going to be a factor in this game. I mean, we could talk about, that and the personnel and AJ Dillon later, but I thought they could have done a better job of maybe getting some quick passes out to get a couple yards and moving. They went to Musgrave early on in the first quarter and just never went back to him. I thought maybe just, a simple out to get the ball in 4 or 5 yards, something of the sort, just to get it started. I thought they failed on and then just kind of floundered from there. And then of course he's got to do the whole, QB sneak where nobody else heard the check at the line. And then he just looked like a total mess. I mean, I'm sure that was embarrassing to watch that back. So, just a collapse by a young team, but it's not a team with new coaches. So just a little bit perplexed as to, how that coaching staff didn't have him in a better spot to pull that game out. And I know it takes the players to lose it too, but just felt like it was a team effort on that one.
Yeah, and what's your biggest lie that you think it's never been about all gas, no brakes? It's just
I mean, it was like one game.
It's been breaks. Yeah, exactly. I feel like we only did that one game, and I've always been saying that just put your foot on their throat. Like I don't understand why we let up and we don't get that same kind of play calling that we have. Like we're up 2 scores, yet here we are. Like okay, well it's just. He's my old buddy. I don't want to show him up. Like, no, just fucking show him up. It's an NFL team. He's not giving a crap. Like when he's showing you up, going up or down 12, and he has 15 unanswered points. So, I just don't understand this mindset of NFL coaches where they're like, okay, I think this is a good lead. I think this is, I get it. And there's another NFL team and they're trying to play too, but go ahead.
Well, Matt should understand. He's watched plenty of games where they've been up by, this amount of points and they've pissed it away, either lost the game or had to win it in a heartbreaker, something of the sort. But he should know better than that. It's like 12 points is nothing. I don't care what the other opponent is, man. Right. I don't think, frankly, with the Packers, you can't be up enough in a game. You should just keep trying. It's the old days of Bill Belichick just going, well, I'm just going to score 70 points or try to score 70 points. And if you can't stop me, I don't care if you're embarrassed about it.
Yeah. And,
not that they're going to do it Jordan Love, but
I do think no matter what, this year is definitely going to be a learning process for Matt because, he had Aaron Rodgers for 3 years kind of dictating how the flow of the game would go, like not getting too big of a moment, not letting a team come back. Like, we're not going to go 3 and out here. Like, I'm going to get this third down. I'm going to convert it and we're going to keep moving the chains. Like you had that for a long time, maybe not so much the last year, but I think injury had a lot to do with it, but you always had that safety blanket. Like he knew how to get us in, close it out. Like he was our closer. Exactly. Right? And, now it's kind of got to be a you and Jordan thing, man. Like it's you and him. You're in his head. You're telling him what he needs to do. And yeah, it's on Jordan to make some of these throws a little bit better. I mean, he missed like how many throws in that last I think
He
3
came
possessions.
apart a little bit. He almost threw a pick six
Yeah,
to the guy on the
exactly.
perimeter.
And it just seems like, like
The
when you
nerves
said
got to him.
it was one of his best performances in the third quarter, and then it was just like probably his worst performance in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I was like,
I
what is going
really, I did think that was kind of where you take a step back as a fan and you realize, okay, all this hype, these 6 touchdowns and this high QBR, all that stuff, it kind of goes out the window because you're kind of like, all right, was that just a dog crap, Bears team? And then obviously with the Falcons team that, still has, a couple playmakers on defense, but I think they figured out how to attack Jordan Love. And I think that was another thing too. And let's be honest, you have to factor in injuries, right? Like when you keep losing more and more of your star players, obviously the level of play will get down. But one last note on Matt LaFleur. Where did Musgrave go? Because I think you gave him like 2 touches, I think, maybe 3. I could be wrong about that, but
he had that one. I think it's the first quarter, first drive or two. He had that
2 catches for 25 yards. That's all he had. So where did he go? Because he looked like he was like, the reason that we were moving the chains. Like it felt like when we got him the ball, which was only 2 times, those were, I think, and I could be wrong. Maybe Iowa Joe can help me out here. I'm pretty sure the 2 catches they had was probably touchdowns that led to it, but I'm not sure. It just felt like, if I was Andy Reid, I wouldn't forget how to use Travis Kelce, right? Same thing with Matt LaFleur. If I have Aaron Jones, I should never forget how to use Aaron Jones. And in this case, I should never have figured out how to lose, Jayden Reed, who's having a huge game. Obviously Musgrave was figuring it out a little bit more. I just don't understand where the play calling goes, but maybe it's obviously a Jordan Love issue. Maybe he's not seeing him. There was the deep post route that Jordan Love took, out to, I think it was
Dobbs.
Well, Dobbs was wide open, and then
he missed him on one. Yeah.
And then he threw it to someone else. I forgot who that was. I think it was Wicks probably, but it was just like, just kind of like a misread. And obviously that's going to happen. You're going to see that on the tablet, and it's like, okay, this is the read I probably should have made. But again, go ahead. Yep.
Well, you made a point earlier about, the 2-minute warning and Rodgers being the close. That guy LaFleur's probably one of his biggest adjustments, in coaching this year is going to be the 2-minute drill, because for the last 4 years here, basically Aaron Rodgers ran the 2-minute drill. He knows the offense inside and out. And then basically the coaches deputized him to go, you just run it, call your own plays, do whatever you got to do. If you got to call a timeout, we'll come talk about it. So LaFleur didn't have to sit there and think about what we're doing. I'm sure he's in touch with it, but now it's like Jordan Love isn't that. He's going to have to be coached and had plays called for him, et cetera. And he's got to be tuned in and dialed in. That's probably maybe part of the reason why, the last week's 2-minute drill was a mess, because LaFleur is probably in his playbook looking around. So that's a really good call by you, Sanjay. And I think that's something throughout the year we should watch to see if that is something that grows and they mature in together.
And there's no reason why he couldn't win that game. You had 30, maybe 40 yards at max, probably to get into, probably 30 to get in Anders Carlson's range. And I don't mind we losing to Anders Carlson missing. You know what? That's a rookie, like if it's kind of a swing thing, right? Like, you miss it left or, miss it right. Okay, fine. At least we were able to have a chance at it. You gave us 4 passes in a row that were just dog crap. And, okay, maybe the last one was kind of a good throw, and maybe Toure,
Toure almost had it. Yep.
If it's any other receiver, if it's Dobbs or Devontae or, Jordy, maybe they come down with that catch. Maybe it's like, maybe Randall Cobb, our third down, master. Maybe he comes down with that catch. Obviously, you're not expecting a lot from Samori Toure, but it just really upset me that you couldn't even get 10 yards. Like that was the problem. We couldn't get 1 first down in 3 possessions.
Was it 11 yards total or something like that? And then the fourth quarter,
yeah.
I honestly thought, Sanjay, like they didn't, if they just had one drive where they were able to run off, 4 or 5 minutes, get a couple of first downs, that they didn't probably even have to score again to win the game. They just needed to have some possession to juice the clock because the worst part about it is the Falcons basically overcame a 12-point deficit by running the ball. That's just disrespectful. Most teams got to fling it around and they got to throw the ball. Not them. They just ran it right at us, and they had all the success that they needed to get the win.
Yeah, and I mean, I think obviously a lot of people are calling for Joe Barry's head, or at least his job. And I do see there was a lot of miscues. You're letting, obviously, we already talked about the Devondre Campbell, assignment, and then obviously the run game too was pretty abysmal, but I did think, when you're getting put on the field that much and the offense is giving you absolutely nothing, yeah, they're going to be gassed. I mean, that's that's any defense. I mean, I don't care if you're, 85 Bears or you're, Green Bay Packers 2023, they're going to get pretty tired eventually. So I'm not trying to excuse Joe Barry because there is still a lot about him that I just still don't like. And we're clearly seeing that Justin Fields is really not good. So whatever happened last week, I'm just kind of, 2 weeks ago, I'm just kind of putting that past. And then the drop interceptions. I don't know what you got to do, man. I don't know if you got to stick them on their gloves or what. You got to maybe just sit there all week this week and just work on hands. I mean, again, that's why they play defense. I know. But it just seems
you gotta come up with those.
They're right
at least one of them.
Exactly. I don't care if you have to body catch it. I'm not expecting you to make Moss kind of catches or OBJ catches. Just hit it in your chest and then just I don't care. Grab it with both your arms for all I care.
Listen, I hesitate to say this because usually it's not true, but this probably is. You and I could have picked both of those off. I mean, they were just passes to guys that were just sitting there. I don't think either one of those guys is going to see an easier one the entire year. I mean, those were by design. You were in the right spot and to get it. And this is the difference in winning and losing. One of those plays, if Jair grabs it and goes pick six, or at least takes it halfway back, something they get some extra points. I really feel like that would have added to it. But I think also looking at it maybe as a glass half full perspective, they should have won the game. They were in position. Like, they let it slip away clearly. They didn't get ran out. They didn't get embarrassed. I don't think the Falcons outplayed them the whole game. I thought Green Bay was a better team through 3 quarters, despite the Falcons kind of sticking around. It was that last quarter was just so bad that it undid all the good things they did, even with some of those drops in there. So if you can shore that up and get those hands back, man, those interceptions are going to win you close ball games coming down the stretch, or not in the stretch, we're in the first part of the year, but you know what I'm saying? Right. That's going to win you games when they're close.
And thank you, Strauss. Obviously, fourth quarter, 21 plays, 109 yards, and 2 field goals for the Falcons. So you just tell me and obviously they had the touchdown too to kind of get them back into the game, but it just doesn't, it doesn't really make any sense that you were able to let 21 plays of offense happen on your defense, which is what you keep touting yourself, that you're this different defense. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, didn't they run more than almost 30 plays more than the Packers? I mean, the time of possession was one of the more lopsided ones I've seen. I believe it was, I'm looking up right now, it was 36 for the Falcons and 23 for the Packers. I mean, and then you go with the play discrepancy. I think Green Bay only ran less than 50 plays from scrimmage. I mean, the whole thing was very bizarre. And that said, they were in a position to win it in the end. So,
and that was a home game almost. Did you see how many empty seats were in that stadium?
Yeah, I was a little blown away by that. I was
hearing "Go Pack, Go" chants, and the only reason they got louder is because they're like, "Oh crap, we're actually winning this game." Otherwise, not winning game, but we have a chance to win the game. So I don't know, man. I'm just kind of confused.
Yeah, 78 plays for the Falcons, 47 for the Packers. I mean, that's massive.
I wasn't expecting to go undefeated by any means, but the games I thought we should have won on our schedule that I circled, I'm pretty sure on our predictions we both had. I think we all had Falcons as a win on this one. But for our season predictions, but you got to win these games, especially when you're the better team on the field. You might have some heartbreakers. I'm fine with that. Maybe against a Chargers or Chiefs or whatever. But on this game where I felt like you were totally in a different class than them, in my opinion, based on what you are as a team. You have all these guys returning. Yes, you have a lot of rookie help as well. But this team is a pretty mature team in the sense of that they've been together for so long.
It's interesting because, when we dissected this team and sort of our expectations, preseason and training camp, it was a lot of we'll just sort of see what happens and we'll kind of accept whatever. But I think now that we've watched the Packers play a bit, particularly through these 2 games, I think everybody sees that, hey, you know what? Maybe this doesn't have to be a mail it in season. Maybe we can, sneak into the playoffs. Maybe we can kind of, make some noise within the NFC that's not necessarily very deep with really good teams. I think the Falcons in many ways are sort of like a comparable team within the conference to Green Bay. A lot of young players, a lot of new kind of weapons on the offense, figuring things out, young QB, younger coach. I think the Packers have some more experience, but in terms of the pecking order, kind of probably in that same echelon of team. So, you're going to have to win games like that in the end to stack some W's. And I think that the NFC North, and we'll talk about throughout the year, is going to be a dogfight.
Yeah.
And,
I
just
think,
anytime
they're all losing, right?
Well, everybody lost. If you had won that game, you're 2-0. I know it's just a half of but it all counts.
It does. It really does. And Joe, is it truly a thing that everything's pretty cheap in that stadium? I heard that was kind of the big thing that was supposed to draw people in, was that the concessions were cheaper, but they couldn't even draw their own fans in that stadium, which is kind of embarrassing. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm glad that you were able to go to the game. Sorry for the loss, obviously, but yeah. Look, Iowa Joe, Luke, we're talking kind of about Van Ness, and we said that he had that energy early on, and then obviously once he went out, I hope. Did LaFleur give an update on his injury status? Like, did they say what his issue was?
I didn't hear anything. I was pretty busy after work. I meant to listen to his thing today, but I didn't see anything. If they did, it didn't get posted much. I didn't see it. So,
well, I mean, obviously
tomorrow's Wednesday, so we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, the big news obviously is, Elgton Jenkins, and I've been holding off on this topic because I know people are talking about it, but AJ Dillon, AJ Dillon, I kind of just wonder, and you know what, on our show, we're not here about, we don't come on the show to trash on people. Like, he is an amazing individual. He's done a lot for the community. He's done a lot for the fan base. But when it comes to the actual field, we have to stop just sympathizing and always being apologetic for players because we like them. Like, I see it a lot on Twitter, and everybody's just like, oh, everybody's, giving AJ Dillon so much crap. Like, yeah, because he's not good. Like, he's just not consistent enough. He's not playing to what he could be, his potential, what his body could probably play to. The guy falls before every first down. And the one thing that you have to do that you probably have in your repertoire, and maybe the one thing that the entire NFL probably knows when they play you, is that you could possibly get 1 yard, and yet you can't even do that. So to me, it's always just so annoying when this guy gets as many touches as he does, like he did in the Bears game, like he did. I mean, he obviously had to get the game touches this game, but I would have rather just kept giving a chance to Emmanuel Wilson. Like, we saw him twice, I think. Strauss, let me know how many carries he had, but I think he came out twice, and they gave Emmanuel Wilson a pitch throw, which gave him a 12-yard loss. Like, thanks for giving him a chance at running. I will say the offensive line was pretty bad. I mean, at least for rushing capability.
Once Jenkins went out, it was
rough. Dillon.
Yeah, rough sledding, and I've been as critical of Dillon and pessimistic about him, and for good reason, because I don't see it anymore. And I wasn't even that high on him, in his rookie year. But the thing is that I know that he's not going to be AJ Dillon. I'm sorry, Aaron Jones. He never will be Aaron Jones. But the thing is this is like,
give me Jamal Williams then.
You let him go, and he had explosive runs. AJ Dillon has no explosive runs. His explosive runs are and they talking about on the local radio here the morning after, and I thought it was so true. They're like, yeah, he'll get a 10-yard gain and he'll go as long as 10, but really it was a 4-yard run, and he just kind of backed up into 10 because he was moved the pile. It happens once or twice, but the reason why he's here, and his main thing is to be that short yardage bruiser that when you need 3 feet, his ass is getting you 6, but rarely does he. He's falling over before he gets to the line of the scrimmage. He constantly gets tackled by his ankles. I know he's a great guy. He's well-loved in the community, but at this point, it's like, what are you doing? What are you bringing to the table? How can the coaches continue to justify giving all these touches and taking from Aaron Jones and giving them to AJ Dillon? No, full damn well, he's not doing shit with them.
I don't know what AJ Dillon has on Matt LaFleur. Maybe he has some secret pictures that he's holding hostage, because this guy gets way more touches than he should, and it's getting really annoying. And he's borderline becoming Mike McCarthy with Aaron Jones, and obviously Aaron Jones didn't even play. But we'll see what happens this week if Aaron Jones can go. But
he better go, and if he doesn't go, you cannot go out and go, well, we're just going to give.
Just go get
AJ Dillon 20 carries. No, and I was gonna say, do we understand now why they were sniffing around Jonathan Taylor? Do we know why? I think it's pretty apparent.
We know now.
I mean, my goodness. But the thing is, it's like if Jones is going to be up and down as much as he is, you got to have somebody who can step in and at least threaten the defense. I don't think he threatens the defense at all. I don't think anybody is scared of him. He hasn't ripped off a long run.
No.
He's not breaking tackles and getting to the second and third, tiers of the defense. I just feel like it's wasted opportunities for somebody else who might be able to grow. You kept Emmanuel Wilson for a reason. If Jones can't go again, I mean, frankly, I'd give half of Dylan's touches, if not more, to Wilson and just see what you can get out of him.
Yeah, and when you see a figure, like a guy of his figure, think of like Derrick Henry or like Najee Harris or something, or like Brandon Jacobs. People feared them, right? And like you said, I don't think anybody's fearing when he's back there. They're just like, oh, good, we have a guy that we can tackle. Or wait, he might tackle himself before he even gets to us. I think our job is done here, boys. So like, yeah.
Okay, one thing I know, and everybody's dogpiling him for the 3rd and 1, and I get it. Like, but at the same time, they also called a run and ran it right where Royce Newman and Rasheed Walker were. It's like, hello, maybe don't do that. Maybe go the other way.
Yeah, maybe exactly. And or
I don't know.
Or let's snap the ball when we do a QB sneak, because now this is like going to go arguably down in Jordan Love's career. Like, as one of the worst.
I know everybody hates it and loathes it, but just do it until they ban it. The Eagles do the butt push on the sneak. Why don't we do that?
The hush push or
I don't care if it's looked down upon. Just get your first down.
Yeah, man. I know, like, it's a copycat league. We're always taking things from everybody. But
Scooms. Like, career long of 36 for AJ Dillon. 30. That's his how good he can be, and I bet those happened 3 years ago.
Yeah, that Titans game, the game that he had like 100 some yards rushing, and it was like we thought we had like the next, like, I don't even know, maybe Derrick Henry
smash and dash again. No,
maybe no, that was a that was a one-time deal. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I really don't know where you go here from this point, because I feel like they don't let these,
the butt stumble. That's a good one.
These young players play. Yeah, right. This butt stumble, exactly. Because first off, Malik Heath, I don't know if you guys do underdog or not, but there was a underdog a bet out there, prop, that Malik Heath had to get 5 yards, and this guy who had the darling preseason and was like a favorite target gets like 1 target, I think, and then he doesn't get the catch, obviously, or I don't even know if the catch was. Go ahead.
Well, I think they try to throw to him, but he probably doesn't get in. He was
only there for running plays. Like, he literally was there as a run blocker, and he's
a badass blocker.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Screw that. Don't ever bet on Malik Heath. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if the Falcons had anything that really showed me like, hey, okay, what we put on tape was good or bad. I think there's a lot of good from Jordan Love. I mean, I think Joe had mentioned 6 TDs, 0 picks. That is very impressive. I think that's a great start for a kid that we had zero know about, really. We're kind of every week we're just kind of like, I think we're kind of like silently anticipating a blow up game where he like throws 3 picks and
bunch of picks, yeah.
And like then we're like head scratching, like, and we're kind of waiting for it, but then we're kind of like shocked that we're like, oh wow, that was an awesome dime, or he's really got the flow of the offense. I think it's really going to be matched by Matt LaFleur, how they call the game, how they really get him, not like, game managing throws. I hate that word, but like, they have to find what he's good at. And I think that he really should, stick to that. I think those out routes were beautiful all game. Yep. Those were working. I think getting Jaden Reed the ball in any kind of capacity, especially when Aaron Jones is not there, has to be the priority. This guy has got way too much talent.
Well, this team needs its best offensive players to stay healthy. I mean, just point blank, Christian Watson, it's like could be as explosive as any player in the league. It appears he's going to struggle with muscle injuries because he's so fast and tall. I don't know. But I mean, I don't blame a guy for that, but at the same time, it's like, dude, we need you out there. Aaron Jones, same thing, gets banged up a lot. I mean, we can go into the Bakhtiari thing. It's like, you're one of our best 3 players and you're just not going to be out here randomly throughout the year. I just think that stuff will help Jordan Love develop better. And I think that LaFleur needs to get the offense started a little bit faster in the game. I thought both games it came out a little bit slow, but possessions 2 and 3 started to pick it up. But you need to see him get him moving, and I'd like to see it open it up a little bit for Love once you get these guys back. I mean, let him. I tweeted, I said, let him cook. He was throwing touchdowns in that third quarter. Like, just let him rip the ball.
Right.
He's doing okay. And if he's going to throw a pick or two, learn from it. But I'd like to see them maybe trust him a little bit more at getting the ball downfield. They haven't. I mean, they've tried to go deep a few times, and they've drawn some pass interferences. But I would love to see, once Watson's back, man, to kind of stretch the field a bit and get him moving. Because I think that if you look at his start and you ask yourself, what would a good start from Jordan Love look like? I think if you look at his stat line, you'd probably, if he told you that in the preseason, everybody would have taken that and then some. Because I'm like you, man. I thought he'd have some picks and would struggle, and there'd be some ups and downs. It's been mostly ups.
Yeah,
he could improve his accuracy and maybe some of these passes, but I think collectively, this is a very, very encouraging start for Jordan Love.
Right. You're 1-1. You're not making mistakes to cost your team. You're not putting your defense in precarious situations. So that's good. And you're getting the ball to all your playmakers. Like you're spreading the ball around, which is what we've been begging for. I mean, hell, even Josiah DeGuara had something. And
how was he so mad when he caught that, by the way? He was so pissed. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
he caught that one pass.
Because he's probably wondering, like, why are you throwing to me? I don't deserve getting catches because I'm not good. But Fred Thurston,
I was just glad to see
be on the team. So
he's still up and he's on the team. I had to be reminded of that.
Yeah, anyway. David Bakhtiari, though, let's settle this now. I think we have to have that conversation of just saying, look, what can we get for a trade? I don't know. I know based on salary cap and stuff of that nature, I know we might have a hit, but I can't keep going into every week thinking that, is he going to play or is he not? I know Matt LaFleur came out saying, like, if it was on grass, he still might have not played because of a knee injury. And I'm like, are you just trying to defend this guy who's clearly made it clear that, turf is something that he does not want to be on. And then he's very concerned about it. And it's just like, we have 3 more turf games. We got Raiders. We have one more we have the Vikings games, and then
Lions. I mean,
Lions,
they're on turf.
Right? And we have Lions. So it's like, yeah, one Viking game, one Lion game, and then the Vegas in 2 weeks. So you got to tell me, what we're gonna get out of this guy, because right now, when he's in the game, I mean, yeah, like it's as sure-handed as you can get. But now with whatever that is, Elton Jenkins out, I don't know what we're gonna have on the left side. I mean, Rasheed Walker's been nice, but I'd rather have David Bakhtiari if I had to say so right now. If he was gone and we had to roll with Rasheed Walker for the rest of the year or whatever it is, I'd be fine with that, because at least you're gonna grow, and like, okay, there's gonna be probably some rough patches, but he'd get a lot of experience, right? But if you have a guy that is just, and again, I'm not trying to call out David Bakhtiari here and say that you are officially lying to everybody or, making this shit up about, the turf. But if you truly are not playing because of the turf, for an injury from 2020, mind you. So at what point are your services still really required is my question, because honestly, you're not helping the team if you're just going to keep sitting out, and we're just going to keep nursing this injury for, the rest of the year, I guess. And we've already made it pretty clear that we didn't think he was going to be part of the team, right? So, or next year. So I don't know, maybe a trade doesn't even make any sense. We just kind of ride and die with it for the rest of the year. And, if he plays, he plays, I guess. But
it's difficult because when Bakhtiari plays, he's so damn good and it's undeniable.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
He's
That's why I don't ever question it.
He's a top 5 left tackle, but at the same time, you also have a team. You have continuity. You have games you need to play and win. No matter what this team's doing, the goal is still to make the playoffs and try to win a Super Bowl. How likely or unlikely that is doesn't matter. That's still the goal, right? And how much are the Packers willing to put up with? Read through the tea leaves. I mean, LaFleur is either really annoyed about being asked about it, or he's getting a little bit like, I need my guys out there. What are you going to do? Like if it's truly his knees swelling and he's got fluid in it, I mean, you can't play him. And I think it's a delicate situation because, one, you do want him here to help. Obviously, you're going to win more games with him than you're not. And 2, you got a young QB starting for the first time that would love to have his blind side completely protected, because when Bakhtiari is in there, he's one of the best pass blockers in the league, and Jordan Love can drop back and feel a little bit better about his life at that moment. But from the team building perspective, it's like, dude, we're going into a hostile environment. We need our guys out there. We need this. And how much longer they're going to put up with it? I think we talked about it, that I think this is his last year here, unless you take some colossal, team discount, friendly contract and stays here. I don't know. And I don't know how much longer he can keep playing. He's still dealing with a knee injury almost 3 years after it happened. That's not going to be good for him long term. So how much longer is he willing to play? So I think there's going to be a lot to go on this. So I think that's why, at least minimally, you have to entertain the idea of looking to trade him if you know he's not going to be here next year, to try to get some value. But what team's going to want to trade for a guy where they have no idea if he's going to even be able to practice?
The Jets were originally.
Yeah, I would say that would have been a good spot, and they probably could have used him in that game. I think their QB would still be playing if that's the case.
They are all in right now, so I think they have no choice to possibly.
Dude, and by the way, all the Jets guys in the media, and they're like, "Oh, just go trade for Kirk Cousins." Like, what do you think this is, Madden Monopoly money? Like, what? Just go trade for? Just give me your quarterbacks. Everybody, send me your quarterbacks. You guys are crazy. Your season's over. Just accept it. Greeny's going through it, man. I feel bad.
Yeah, Greeny immediately was like, "Go get Bakhtiari." Like, why? It's like everybody's guys are just for sale. Like, can you?
They sound like some immature Twitter call. Just go trade for this guy. Oh yeah, because the other teams go, just have him. Oh, you guys are in trouble. Have my guy. No problem.
Have our all-pro quarterback or whatever you want to call him. I don't. And I'm gonna really shed some light on this too. Why do we need to nurse Aaron Jones? First off, load management. We played load management with Aaron Jones for 3 years with Mike McCarthy. And then we finally started using this guy. And so is he just made of glass? Because I see it too. Like, he does get hurt,
but that's
quite often. But
that's why people are upset with AJ Dillon, because you have to load management Aaron Jones. Then you need somebody else who can tout the rock, and the guy who's there doesn't and can't do it.
Go get Cam Akers then. Go get me someone that's similar to Aaron Jones, and then we'll just roll with two guys that are exactly the same.
Call up crazy Jim
Irsay and slash. Like, I don't.
Hey, you done being nuts? No one's giving you 2 first rounders. Can we come back to earth here? Do you want to do a real deal for Jonathan Taylor? Let's talk. You nut job. Come on.
I mean, you're right. Maybe you should call him. Maybe you call Chris Ballard and you say, "Hey,
let's talk,
Jensen
homie.
here."
Come on.
Actually, Matthew Jensen. Let's talk some serious. Okay. I mean, by the way, really, Carolina went to turf? They're an outdoor stadium. They're turf.
Unacceptable.
No way.
Seriously?
Are they turf? I'm pretty sure they are still field. I need some sources on that one. There is no way that keep pounding stadium is.
They did it for their soccer team. Well, if they did that, if they accommodated their soccer team before their football team, if I'm that owner, I'm like, we're out of here. We're out. We're going.
Exactly.
See you later.
Somebody else will get your that makes you like what? Like,
this is America.
$500,000 a year because of
you can play in grass.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out. Come on, Sid.
Come on, Sid.
All right. So I got nothing left on this game. I know there's a lot of things that, we can learn from in this matchup. I do think this is kind of what we saw from Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. Like, hey, where are the bumps going to be, and how do you overcome those bumps and into the next game and not let that be a consistent problem? And I know with Matt LaFleur, we were talking about like juice, right? Having juice on the road. Like, I didn't think that had to be coached, for $1 million athletes playing a child
this
game.
Team it does.
Yeah, and it's just it's still mind-boggling.
This team didn't show up with juice, in their own words, in NFC Championship games.
Yeah,
if you didn't have juice for that, how you gonna have juice for a Week 2 game in Atlanta? I mean, come on.
I thought Za'Darius was out of the building, so
they have gotten rid of most of those guys. So I don't think that's going to carry over.
Juiceless characters are gone.
Yeah.
But we have go ahead. Yeah.
I would say just to put a bow on this game, I think that people should be mostly encouraged, because I think they're on the right direction with the offense. They're going to figure that stuff out and not have duplicate fourth quarters. But I think it's fair to say it's okay to worry about the defense, because they showed some characteristics on Sunday that they've shown the last couple of years that have pissed everybody off consistently. So, I mean, it's a twofold, but I'm not worried about the offense. Let's say that.
this is kind of funny because I watched the Annie Agar episode of like her week 2 thing, and she was talking about something about dolphin sex. Like,
Well, didn't
sounds.
you see that?
What?
On basically Aaron Rodgers said on Pat McAfee that he's looking into some kind of, I don't know what the therapy was called.
Oh,
but it
that's right.
involves
Yeah.
dolphin
yeah.
sounds that apparently.
I do remember that
I don't
now.
know, man.
That is that guy's a nut
wacko.
job too. Yeah. Good riddance, 12. Sorry, should I say 8? We have a home opener though. We will both be attending.
Yes.
Nothing. Okay. Outside of the birth of my child, there is probably, or even my marriage, like I don't think there is another feeling better than being in a home opener in Lambeau Field. You know, I mean, under the lights, probably a little bit better than in a, you know, I think it's a 12 o'clock game, which is, again,
No, it's 3.
Now it's 3.
It's always been.
Yeah. See, I asked that. I truly did ask that. And so it is 3. Is it game of the week?
It's got to be. No, it's not, because it's not it's not
on Fox.
Well, it is on Fox, but it's not. It's like who are the guys we had last game? Like Vilma? Yeah, he's doing it.
Good thing I'm at the game then. I don't have to listen.
Oh, what team did Jonathan Vilma spend his whole career with?
Jets?
The Saints. Didn't he? Jonathan Vilma?
Oh, right. Yeah, it was Saints, and yeah, you're right, because it was Jets, like I think, for like a short stint.
Yeah, so why not assign him to the Saints game when they play the Packers? Because we don't have enough announcers that are
awful, man. Like, I didn't want to hear him anymore. Like, his commentary about the Packers was pretty awful. See, Iowa Joe says it's a noon game. Do you know what you're talking about?
Do I know what I'm talking about? Wait a second. Hold on,
he's going to show up at 3. The game's going to be done.
I swear it was 3.
I would love to
should have told me.
Kara's face.
Why is nobody at the tailgate? Holy shit, it is noon.
Look at this guy.
This whole time I'm like, 3:15. Damn.
I'm pretty sure he is a closet Milwaukee
Milwaukee
owner of Packers.
Wow.
Gold package owner right here.
What I do without you guys? I would have shown up. I would have been driving there at around noon. Like, why is this? There's too many people here.
God,
why are the fireworks going off?
Never said anything. We should have just let him ride, honestly.
Oh
my God. All right. Yeah, noon game, home opener against the Saints. I think the last time we had the Saints, I think Aaron Jones had that really like coming out party with Mike McCarthy, and it was like a cool, like, you know, long, like 30-some yard touchdown. We're like, see, use the guy. And then I think the other one would probably be the Randall Cobb touchdown.
Well, we played him we played him without Devontae Adams and a bunch of guys the other year in New Orleans, and like Al Nazard.
I know. I'm saying at Lambeau.
Oh, at Lambeau. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've only played him twice at Lambeau. We've been there a lot. Yeah, or we were in stupid Jacksonville for that, you know, neutral site game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the Brett Hundley game. That's right.
Oh,
it was
God,
Brett Hundley in the game, but it was Aaron Jones' show that day. But yeah, it's a fun time when you're at Lambeau. It's definitely an experience, especially in September, where you can still, you know, wear a shirt and shorts, and you feel like you can just, you know, crack open a summer shandy or whatever you want to drink, and you know, you can just enjoy some Packer football. I mean, regardless of whatever happens with win or loss. Again, I just truly love home openers. The call outs, I'm pretty sure it's going to be offense being called out. So I want to hear the roars for the new, you know, Jordan Love era, because I mean, some of the roars I heard for Aaron Rodgers are probably unmatched. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, I've heard some Favre ones, and I don't think it really ever came close to an Aaron Rodgers one. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm biased or something, but I truly I felt like the decibels were unmatched for Aaron Rodgers one. But I think maybe this might be a new entry into the era of Jordan Love, where we can find, you know, a younger fan base, you know, that likes this, you know, cool hip, like, you know, Cali kid that has a cool last name, whatever it is. But yeah, and I think they also, they don't have Jamal Williams. They're not going to have Alvin Kamara. So really, the one thing that we had as Achilles heel last week, which was the run game, hopefully should not be an issue this week. But again, I'm not going to say anything because it's Sunday football. Anything can happen. But a lot of things are in your play. You make Derek Carr beat you. Derek Carr is still good, but we also have a good secondary, and they're going to have to probably move the chains, throwing the ball. So I do think there is that advantage, at least on the defensive side. And then on offense, I do think, it's a big question. What are we going to have? Are we going to have Christian Watson? Are we going to have Aaron Jones?
Yep.
I think Elton Jenkins is probably on the doubtful side of things.
I think he's going to be out. Yep.
And are we going to have David Bakhtiari? At this point, it's kind of like we just go down the list, right? Like, we're the same people probably every single week. And it's kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's going to be our life and our reality. So I do see, again, us being technically the better team on paper and the fact that we're at home. But I've seen stranger things.
Dare I say it's like a Joe Barry has got to redeem himself kind of game?
Oh, you think it's a Joe Barry redeem game?
Well, two things here. So, our offense on their defense is going to be their strength, no doubt. They have a very strong secondary. They've always had a good defensive line with Cam Hayward. A few of the guys, or it's not Cam Hayward, Cam Jordan. Cam Hayward's on the Steelers. But they've always had a very tough, grinded out, physical defense that wants to fight and wants to get up in your face and make you earn it. So in that light, I think to your point, Sanjay, this is going to be, who do we have available to us? If we don't have Jenkins or Bakhtiari, I think that really complicates things. If we have Bakhtiari in there, I feel a hell of a lot better. But do we have Aaron Jones back? I got to think Christian Watson plays. I mean, he's out there running in pregame last week. I'm not sure why he's not out there. I think part of it is because, they know they got 3 games in 12-ish days coming up here.
12 days, 3 games.
So I kind of get that, but it's like, you got to get him out there now. You got to get him out there, and he needs some action. So I think we'll take a wait and see approach. I think the injury report coming out tomorrow will tell us a lot kind of about what to expect. But on the other side of the ball, I don't look at the Saints offense and I'm not that like, oh shit, we got to account for this and that. Yeah, I think Chris Olave is a really nice receiver. Right. It's like when Michael Thomas is playing well as your number 2, you could do a lot worse there. I don't care about Jimmy Graham. I thought he was all but retired 3 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they don't have the running backs. And so I just feel like, if Lucas Van Ness plays and we see more of that defensive front that we saw against the Bears, and in the first half against the Falcons, I think that we can own the line of scrimmage again and keep Derek Carr off center and having to maybe throw some passes he doesn't want to make into a secondary full of ball hawks. Now, if you're a ball hawk, you got to actually catch it. So let's remember how to do that, because I think you might serve up a couple. But I think, like you said, that the Packers are probably the better team on paper going into the game. How that translates into wins and losses, I have no idea, but I do know that the people here are ready to show up and show out for the team. Everyone is talking about Jordan Love, and I think that nothing would make me happier than him coming out and having a really good first home game as the official starter for the Packers. So I don't know. I feel somewhat confident, heading into Sunday.
Jonathan Vilma started with the Jets and then finished with New Orleans.
Okay. That's what I remember.
Vice versa. But yeah. And then, yeah, it sounds like Jenkins could be missing up to multiple weeks. So
yeah, it sounds like probably a month or something. That's my guess.
It's so crazy when you go into a season, you're like, yeah, man, we got a full roster. And then it's just like, you watch them drop like flies in like a matter of like 2 weeks. You're like, God damn.
It's so tough. It's so tough. And I think it was a couple of years ago, before the Bakhtiari injury, that we were talking about that one season where we had like no offensive line injuries. Like the whole offensive line was like just healthy. I think it was Jenkins, maybe his first year. And it was such like a missed opportunity to cash in a Super Bowl. And it's like, damn, man, I wish we could have that back.
I know. Yeah, that year that we had barely any injuries, I think it was like maybe 1 or 2. And I was like, ugh.
I think it was like LaFleur's first year.
It might have been 2019. I think you might be right, actually. But yeah, I think the Saints team, it's still got. Who's the coach now? Dennis Allen.
Yeah. Did you watch him last night? Did you watch the game last night? I watched him just to see.
I saw that was kind of a crappy game. I mean,
I didn't think it was. I wasn't impressed.
No, like the Panthers again. This is why I was kind of thinking about the Falcons. I'm like, they barely let the Panthers. I mean, they let the Panthers come back, and they had like a chance to come back and I think win the game. Yeah. And then the Saints too. It's just like, I don't know. You barely beat the Panthers. Like, and again, this Panthers team, I have no clue why people think this is like a dark horse team. They're not good. Like Bryce Young has a lot to learn, and he is far from it, and he has no receivers. So I do feel like this is a good game for us. Again, I thought on this schedule this was a W for me, and at home, it's your home opener. Granted, I didn't think these injuries were going to hit us as hard as they did, but you got to trust in the offense. You have to trust that, Matt LaFleur is going to call a good game, and then Jordan Love has gotten the reps that he's needed in the preseason / the last 3 years of learning and, understanding the system, that he's going to be able to make these reads. Now, again, that's the growing and maturation process for him, that he's going to see some reads that he misses, and then he's going to find some pretty awesome open receivers and make some pretty good throws, and he's going to have some bad throws. I mean, that's just what it's going to be week in and week out. We've said this ad nauseum. So what I think, so I'll just go ahead right here. Let's just do our predictions quick. I have the Packers winning this game.
Good man.
I do.
Good man.
Home opener. If
I applaud. I'll always applaud that.
Yeah. I was sipping on that hype juice a little too much from the Bears game. I'm not going to go 40 burger on this one.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
I'm actually going to temper the expectations. I'm going to go 24-17, a 7 score game here, or sorry, 7 point game here between the difference. And I think we edge it out, but I think this is a truly a game for, I mean, if it's Aaron Jones back, I think it's an Aaron Jones game. Yeah. But if there's no Aaron Jones, I think obviously it's going to have to be Jordan Love. And this is where I need to see Matt LaFleur really get him comfortable in the system and get him some throws and some easy throws for him, and use the scheme that he's wanted to do for years at his disposal. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that high scoring, but also at the same time, I'm like, I didn't think we'd score 30 against the Bears. Granted, it's the Bears, and we're learning a lot about how bad they are. But I just feel like the team's going to learn a little bit from last week, and I think LaFleur, has shown to make some adjustments, and I think that they'll get the team started a little bit quicker. I'm making this prediction assuming that we got Watson and Jones back, and Bakhtiari does play, and so does Van Ness. So I like it 31-24. I'll go with a touchdown win there. I think that it could be close. I think it could be maybe, I don't want to say a shootout, but in terms of, maybe scoring in the 30s for both teams. I don't know, man. I just don't think the Saints are that explosive yet, at least early on in the season. I think we can take advantage of that. I do worry a little bit about a veteran backfield, or I'm sorry, secondary. Do they still have Tyrann Mathieu, or did he move on somewhere else?
Is
he in the Saints?
I would Joe or Alex or Andrew help us out.
Tyrann. Do a little live Googling. Yeah, he plays for the Saints. So between him and Marshawn Lattimore, I mean, you got some guys there that know what's going on. So I think that LaFleur is going to be has to be a little bit more creative in terms of maybe how he gets the passing game going and getting Jordan Love in a groove. So I mentioned earlier, I'd love to see Musgrave get involved early and more often. I think they've kind of done it and gotten on the ball when they're scripting their plays, but kind of strayed away from that. I know I'm rambling here about the game, but I said 31-24. Jordan Love, give me a couple touchdowns, maybe Aaron Jones, 100 yards in the ground. But the good news is I don't think the Saints aren't built to. Our defense is built to kind of combat how they're built. They're not going to run up our up our bums here. I think that we can probably limit the somewhat and then put it on the air. So I like the Packers in this game.
Okay, shocker, picking the Packers.
Crazy, I know.
Fred also has a prediction, so I have his. He's picking us to win. He has 31-27, still a close game. He's got obviously a little bit more points than we do, but I like it though because you know what? You got that juice. It's home opener. Maybe you're gonna have that extra, that extra hype from your fans, and maybe you do put a couple more extra scores in there. So I would love to see the defense bounce back. Maybe they get a pick six, they hold on to the ball, and they actually take it to the house. Maybe we get something from Keyshawn Nixon. Maybe there's a return.
Okay. I was just going to say, can he not take every kick out?
I know. Why?
Come on, man. Like maybe one time, not every time. I know you housed one last year. Gotta put
he
an end to
must have
that.
some forever green light, and I don't
Ugh.
know why, but like
Ugh.
it just needs to stop.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you were Devin Hester, okay, fine, go ahead. Like,
know,
but
just
bro,
like, come on, man.
you're not, so you just let it
Pick
go
one
out.
time and do it, and that's it. Okay.
They made him. I bet you he really wanted to on that very last possession, and
And then
like, no,
and
bro.
then Fox keeps doing that one camera angle where you can just see like, what is going on here? Not only is he taking it out, I hate this camera angle.
Right, exactly. So totally agree with you on that. I definitely believe that is becoming a small problem. Again, I don't know, maybe Rick Bisaccia.
Hey, let that one return go right to the head.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us once again on a Tuesday evening. Enjoy the game. Enjoy. If you're going to the game, enjoy. We'll be around.
Come find me.
Matt. Yeah, I was
Come
gonna say,
Sanjay.
Matt and I will be around. Hopefully we can see. I mean, we're typically, I know Matt will be in a different location with his wife, but he'll make his usual area, which is kind of over by Oneida. Maybe we'll meet up there.
Oneida and Armed Forces Drive.
Otherwise, come have a drink with us at the Liney Lodge. Yes, I'm going to call it the Liney Lodge and not the U.S. Cellular.
Forever and always.
So forever and always get a drink with us at the Liney Lodge if you'd like, but enjoy the game.
11:15.
Enjoy at 12. Yeah, nothing like a beer at 11.
Standing date. Yep.
11:30 game. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Hopefully Fred will be feeling better. He probably will, because when we win, he's going to be hyped up. He'll want to talk about the Packers.
Exactly.
So as always, I'm Sanjay. That's Matt. Andrew, thanks so much for all your help. And everybody, have a great night. And as always, go Pat. Go.